I might be able. I might be in it right now.
Yep, we are. So let's see. So we have the first announcement of the Tallahassee Regional. Bethune-Cookman is in the Florida State Regional. Florida State being a number 9 seed, so just missing out one spot from that top 8 national seed.
Just I'm gonna show you my screen right here.
Mississippi State's going to Tallahassee.
Are you on the same screen? Can you see that?
Correct. You're a few seconds behind me.
Okay.
So Jake, how do you feel being live? First ever live show. A little bit of a hiccups
This is
in the road, but
interesting.
this is
But I
definitely,
guess we don't really
definitely.
do much editing on the normal videos anyways, so it's kind of like one take. So I guess it's not, we're kind of used to this, if anything.
Honestly, at
We're
this point,
used
yeah,
to.
we are just kind of used to this.
So have they already
Hopefully,
announced how many regionals have they announced already?
this
Do you
is
know?
number two.
This is number
So,
two. Which one did they announce
um,
before?
I also was trying to set up the show and I couldn't see it. Um, but let's do a plug before we get any further into this. Jake, tell us where they can find us on social media at usually.
Well, I mean, you can find us here, right? Are they on the Facebook?
They're on my personal Facebook.
Uh,
But you can
well,
go to Picked Off Media for most of the podcast information.
yeah,
We should have
where it
that
should
up
have
fixed
been,
from now
but
on. Yes,
the internet's stupid sometimes, so
it is. You can find us there at Picked Off Media. You can also find us on X and YouTube at Picked Off Media. We will be live from there from now on, but due to some technical stupid YouTube policies, we couldn't be live on YouTube. So that's that. We will also later in this podcast have my former head coach, former Madison Central State champion, pitching coach, and national champion according to USA Today, Luke Hargett on the show to talk about and discuss some of these things. He's had some of this experience. This podcast will also be live as they're announcing the Corvallis Regional right now. St. Mary's USC is in Corvallis. Oregon State is a top 8 national seed, so they will host all the way through. Like I was saying, you can also find this podcast on Spotify and Apple. And Jake, if they haven't already, tell them where they can find the previous episodes of this wonderful podcast.
well, the previous episode will be under I guess this one. Will this go on
Yes,
our
this will go on. This will go on post
this is
live. You
on
will hear this
Spotify?
after the fact. You can go back and listen to it. Yes,
Cool. There we go. I'm trying to like put the volume on without it being too loud because I don't want to get copyright.
live television, ladies and gentlemen.
This is the raw content right here.
This is what you came for. All right, so we got regional so far. We have Florida State, and they will be matched up with the winner of the Oregon State Corvallis Regional. Mississippi State will be in Tallahassee. Now they're announcing the Chapel Hill Regional. All right, and here in just a few seconds, we will have my head coach on so we can talk about this.
Awesome.
We're a little all over the place, Jake, but hey, how do you feel? It's regional time. This is the most wonderful time of the year. This is like Christmas morning to me. How's it feeling for you?
I'm looking forward to it, man. I can't wait for June. It's only a few days away. Is it next weekend when this starts?
Correct.
Yeah,
We have a
that's
regional in
fun,
Oxford
man.
next weekend, at least that I will be at.
Yep.
Um, Holy Cross Crusaders in at Chapel Hill. I know they won their conference tournament to get in at 31 and 25. You
Oh
know what? Good
wow.
for them. Good for them. Nebraska won the Big Ten as a 3 seed, or no, a
That's
2 seed
interesting.
in in I mean, they probably shouldn't host, but yeah, they won the Big Ten. They're going to Chapel Hill. They're 32 and 27.
Hmm.
Oklahoma is going.
Didn't
Wow,
Nebraska
Oklahoma.
beat UCLA? I think
Hold on,
Nebraska beat UCLA.
pause the press here. Oklahoma going to Chapel Hill.
Oklahoma's a 4 seed. Wow.
They, yeah,
That'll
wow.
be interesting.
That's a 4 seed that can beat you. No, I think they're a 2 seed. I think they have that backwards in the thing.
Do they?
Surely. Yeah. Yeah, I think that
I guess we'll
there's
see
like
it. We'll see the who's playing who.
I think it's 1 versus 3 and then 2 versus 4. No, here we go. All right, so here we go. Here's my. Let's see. You gotta mute
Nice.
yourself. He's on mute. Live podcasting, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm surprised my internet hasn't bugged out
So
yet.
Chapel Hill is Chapel Hill's matched up with Oregon, so Eugene, so they're going to be matched up. A lot of people thought they were going to be matched up with Oxford, but
You thought
they are
Oregon was going
matched
to be?
up with. All right, so hey, Coach, you in? Can you hear me? Is he in? I thought Oregon was going to be matched up with, or Ole Miss was going to be matched up with UNC.
Utah Valley.
Utah Valley, Cal Poly, and Arizona. That's a regional.
Arizona's another. I mean, they were preseason ranked pretty high, right?
Yes. Let's see. Hey, Coach, see if we can get. He's trying to get his mic to work right now.
Mhm.
So all right. So just this podcast probably a bad listening experience. So just kind of all over the place. Um, so right now, North Carolina, that regional is paired up with the Eugene regional, Holy Cross, Nebraska, and Oklahoma in that one, and then the Oregon regional is Oregon, Arizona, Cal Poly, um, and um, I forgot the last one to be honest, because they're not very good. And now we're looking at the Conway Regional, which is Coastal Carolina. Fairfield. I didn't know Fairfield was a thing. The Fairfield Stags, and ladies and gentlemen,
What do you think about Coastal Carolina?
I think they're a very, very, very good team. I think they're
Yeah,
probably one of the group of fives that could actually make a run. Speaking of group of fives that could make a run, East Carolina
they've
in
been
the
good the
regional.
past few years.
Yes, but they've been like not where they expected to be. Former Ole Miss coach Cliff Godwin, of course,
Well, they
head
lost.
coach.
What's his name? Zach Root. I think he was on their
Yes,
team. Yeah, that
yeah.
lefty. He went to
And
Arkansas.
Florida. Oh, that is a regional. Florida in at Conway. Florida's in Conway.
You agree with is so? Does that mean it's a 4 seed? Florida's a 4 seed.
No, I think it's their 3 seed or 2 seed. Um, that
That
is
is
going to
going to be a
be
really good regional. Florida. I
if
mean,
I if I'm Conway right now. Never mind what I just said about Coastal being a chance to get all the way to the being a group of five that could go far. Good luck. I do not want to see them there. Nope.
not at all.
Still experiencing some technical difficulties. So, and they're going to be matched up with the Auburn regional. So Ole Miss not matched up with Auburn, that being the other one that they believe the Oxford regional would be matched up with. Unfortunately, fortunately, however you look at that, it's not. So we got Auburn. Central Connecticut is a 4 seed. Um, so the CCSU Blue Devils. There you
I'm
go.
like a few seconds behind you. It's kind of annoying because
Yes. Stetson at 40-20. Okay. No big teams in that one so far for Auburn. And NC State
that's
as
hey,
the
that's a good
2.
one.
That's a good one. To be honest, though, I still feel that's pretty favorable for Auburn.
I mean, I don't know how NC State is this year. Do you know more about them? Because I know they
They
weren't
were
within the top
okay in
five in
the
the
ACC.
ACC.
They were ranked a few times during the season. They just kind of had a tough run
They're a
there
good
against
postseason
teams like
team, though. You
Florida
saw what they
State,
did to
North Carolina.
Arkansas.
Correct. Yes, they are. They upset Arkansas a few years ago, lest we forget. Um, but Auburn this year has just been unbelievable. What a turnaround there for Butch Thompson and
Cam Tilly, shout out Cam Tilly.
Cam Tilly. Yeah.
I faced him when I was 13 years old, throwing 85 miles an hour.
Oh, good grief! All right, so they're going to a commercial break. So I'm glad that we can get some of this breakneck pace over with. So what do you think of the regional so far? I feel bad for Coastal.
Yeah. So who was it? It was Coastal, East Carolina, and Florida. That's gonna be a tough one. Who was matched up with State, with Mississippi State?
Florida State.
Florida State. That's gonna be so fun to
That's
watch.
interesting. That is two baseball powerhouses,
Yeah.
um, two traditional powerhouses. And look, Mississippi
I
State's
mean,
hot. They're
Florida,
very
Florida
hot.
State's hot. I mean, they lost to North Carolina,
That's going to be
but
tough for Mississippi. It's a tough draw, but State could win that.
oh, I think I could see it going either way. Like I don't know. I
I
really
just
don't
don't
know.
know that State has the pitching long term to win a
Yeah.
Game 7 in a regional if it came down to it. They really lack in a bullpen.
Florida State
I
definitely
mean,
does. They had a
you've got Pico Khan, but you've got Evan Sierra, who did have a really good outing against Ole Miss that showed flashes. Um, and then I mean, their offense would really have to score. And I mean, Florida State's pitching has struggled up and down here, but I can't see it in the top anymore. I wonder if he's still in. Um, but um, they have a I mean, they're still Florida State and still have an elite pitching staff when it comes to it. So it's going to be a really tough challenge for State. I still think Florida State probably ends up winning that, but Mississippi State's been playing very, very well as of late.
Yeah, I mean, Florida State, did you see the game against North Carolina 2 days ago? They had that guy, Florida State had that guy come in. He had kind of like a super fast, wicked motion, and he was throwing 96, 97 with an insane amount of run. But that North Carolina big lefty guy took him 430 to center field. See that?
Yes, I saw that.
That was
Um,
like, that's just like peak D1 baseball right there. You got a guy throwing really hard with a lot of movement, and you got an elite power hitter. I can't wait to watch these top ACC teams face the top SEC teams. I don't know. That's what I'm most excited about this is to see like the top teams from different conferences go against each other. Did your coach get kicked out?
I just admitted him back in, so let's see.
Yeah. They must have been having some mic problems.
Let's see. Can you hear us now? Oh, he's on mute. Let's see. Again, live podcasting, ladies and gentlemen. There he
Can you hear me?
is. Yes, we can.
Oh, we back. We here.
Oh, we got the Short Bus Bandits t-shirt on.
Now you
Oh,
You
can see
going,
it
wow.
right over the
coach?
heads, man.
Hey, that's it. How you doing? All right, so let's real quick while we're in commercial, let's do a quick introduction for you. So tell the audience who you are.
Oh, I guess what am I still coach? Is that what I still am?
Yeah, hey, you know what? You can still be coach. I mean, you got the resume, you got a state
That-
championship, you got a ring.
that's right. I should have brought my jewelry right there. So, but no, Braden, appreciate you having me on there. But say took us a while with the technical difficulties, but we're here.
Hey, we made it.
Oh,
So you want to tell the people where you've been, what you've done? You've done a few things.
yeah, I've done a few things. Let's say, what we coached for about 10 years. So
Yes, 10 years.
last stop was with you boys there at Nettleton, huh? So
Yes, it was. And then before that, a state championship at Madison Central with the best team in the country, according to USA Today. And you got to coach guys like Braden Montgomery and Justin Storm. So you've been with the guys who've been on this stage right here that we're talking about.
I guess the all-time home run leader at Mississippi State now too, right? Hunter
Yeah,
Hines
that him
move,
too, Hunter Hines.
moving up the board. Let's see, second team All SEC Sunbelt Jake Cook down there in Hattiesburg. So we got several of that team has come through. But yeah, 4 years at Madison Central. Let's see, did a couple at New Albany, a year at Pearl. Let's see, one at Lafayette. So we just bounced around, tried to hit all the high schools there.
Yeah, we tried to hit all of them there. All right, so we're back on the announcement of the regionals here. We got the Austin regional coming up. They are the overall two seed. So I guess that means that Vandy did get the number one overall seed
Wow,
after
that's.
winning yesterday's championship.
Do you agree with that? You agree with Vandy doing that?
Yes,
Because it looks better
absolutely.
on us.
They they're healthy. Texas is a bit banged up, but they've been the
I
most.
mean, yeah.
They're
Talking about
really
a team
good.
that's hot though, Ole Miss is hot, but if there's a team that is just as hot, if not hotter, it's definitely Vanderbilt.
This is a tough regional right here. So you've got Texas and Kansas State and UTSA in this regional. UTSA, who went on a tremendous run and then got beat there in the American Conference Championship. That is a tough one for Texas.
You think so? So UTSA is the two seed? I mean, they're
Kansas, yes,
44 and
UTSA.
13. It seems
Yes,
like
UCSA is the two seed.
I mean, yeah, it'll be a tough one, but again, Texas went 22 and 8 in the best conference in baseball. I think they definitely have the
I agree. And now they'll be matched up with the UCLA, the Los Angeles Regional. Coach, quick question as we dive into this here. So Texas is a bit banged up pitching wise. They lost their ace early on in the year. Obviously, you've never been in a regional type situation with just the way the tournament works. But how do you think Texas could handle their pitching here with this sort of potentially long, very long region where you play 7 games, 5, 6, 7 games.
I think the main thing there, if you stay in the winners bracket, right, then you
Yeah,
don't have to. That helps out the pitching there.
yeah.
You'd like to think you'll hit a little bit at home. Who are they lined up playing with Friday? Do we know that?
They line up playing with they're
Do
about
we
to
know
show
if
the
they got
bracket
are
again.
they a big arm? They got a big ace. That's usually what you
The
worry about there with a
the
1-4 matchup. But
I mean, I
um,
assume that if they probably could go without playing their ace, whose name is escaping me, who did start against Ole Miss this year, Saturday. They could probably go without using him. I don't know who their Sunday guy is, to be completely honest, but they do have a deep bullpen, including Dylan Volantis. So the 4 seed, they're matched up with Houston
At this
Christian.
man, yeah.
Houston Christian, Todd Walker's son plays at Houston Christian,
yeah, that's it. I think anytime you get in that format there, obviously
and
being the home
and
team
and here we
and
go. The
you feel good
Oxford,
there.
sorry,
Who you
not to cut
got?
you off.
No,
The
interrupt me.
Oxford Regional, we're matched up with Texas.
Oh man,
So the Oxford Regional, wow. Ole Miss Murray State is the 4 seed. We played Murray State early on this year, the winners of the Ohio Valley, as they're doing a football celebration.
10 overall
They're
seed.
lining up. So the number 10 overall seed, too shy of being a top 8 national seed. Western Kentucky at 46-12.
Kentucky.
What's got?
The Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky. Of course, Ole Miss losing to Western Kentucky in, I believe, 2004.
Ooh, throwing it
And
back.
Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is the 2 seed.
Wow. Georgia Tech. That's gonna be. That'll
That
be a good
is,
game, man.
I mean, a lot
that'll
of
be
people
a
had them as
really,
being a host, huh? Potentially.
yeah. Well, and then they kind of, they really didn't do too much outside of winning the ACC this season, but they didn't play the toughest teams in the conference: Clemson, Florida
What was that
State.
stat there, Braden? Would they not play 2, 3, and 4 that finished in the
Yes,
ACC? They were able to skip those guys?
correct.
Yep.
So, and then you've got this Ole Miss team who, now this is a tough regional, but this Ole Miss team is white hot. Um, you know, I mean, but we've seen that white hot Ole Miss teams lose to group of fives before. Knock the Tennessee Tech says hello. Um,
Tough.
Little Rock.
yes, or actually, we might be matched up with Athens. Wait, I might have got that confused. We'll see here in just one second. But
Yeah, they
um,
said Ole Miss and Athens, I think.
okay, Ole Miss. That's actually, man. Okay, that's a lot better than being matched up with Texas.
Yeah.
Foley Field there. You got Binghamton, Oklahoma State. That's going to be kind of easy there for Georgia.
I mean, I guess Oklahoma State's been good in the past. I mean, they're another good
But they're,
postseason team,
I
but I don't
mean,
know how they
yeah.
are this year. I haven't been following them.
And Duke. Yeah, I think Georgia's winning this one.
Hey, Duke was a preseason like number 9 or something like
And then
that.
they like lost to
Yeah, they lost
like
they were out of
Chattanooga
it
or
within
somebody.
a week.
We'll get a former Ole Miss matchup there potentially with former Ole Miss pitcher J.T. Quinn now pitching at Georgia, and of course they got Brian Curley. So, Coach, you've seen some weird guys in your days, I'm sure, with pitchers, but Brian Curley, he's certainly unique. That is for sure.
Certainly a guy that's easy to not like if you're in the other dugout, huh? They,
Right.
he likes to get up under your skin, but anytime you got a cat that's going to go in there and throw upper nines with a lot of attitude, you like having that guy. But man, he's got lights out stuff. So anytime you got a big arm there, I mean, you got to feel good about it. But has he been throwing mainly Saturdays for the Bulldogs?
Mainly Fridays, I think some Saturdays, and of course early in the year he was out of the bullpen, but I think he's been the Friday guy primarily.
Yep.
So
He kind of reminds me of that guy for Wake Forest. You remember
a couple
that year
years
when they
ago,
played LSU, the dude who was like crazy?
yeah, the
Like,
one
I
who
mean, he
like
was
he was
really
about to
good, but
impale the entire third baseline. Yeah, I remember.
yeah, he kept, I don't know what was going on with that, but
Guess who's
smart
going
guy.
to Baton Rouge? The Little Rock Trojans, who are 24-32,
Hey, you saw the
winning.
you saw the Trojans earlier this year, huh?
Yes, I did.
Was that the
In
the
all
kids
their
screaming
glory.
game in Oxford? The
Yeah,
morning game?
Yes, the little kids that tried not to hit, I think I ran over one of their foots. Yeah.
I've seen you drive. I can believe that for sure.
Jake has also seen me drive a few times. He's not Dallas Baptist going to Baton Rouge. That's not the most Baptist environment to be in.
Jacksonville State knocked them off in their conference.
Yes, they did. I believe so.
DBU, they're always pretty good now. Yeah,
But
that'd be
you
a good.
know,
Yeah, DBU is a good team. They
and I
made
mean,
didn't they make they made it to Omaha,
DBU is always
right?
good in these tournaments for some reason.
They usually hit. They usually swing it.
They definitely do. And I mean, but they've never seen anything like this. I imagine going down to Baton Rouge. I mean, you've been to Baton Rouge a few times. You know how it is. I've been there a couple times. Man,
Now
it's a
tell me
tough place to
this.
play.
Tell me this, Braden. We remember Stony Brook.
Yes, we do.
What was that? Was that a super regional? They went down to Baton Rouge and won here several years ago.
That was a regional.
Oh man, I
So
thought
it's
they
I'm
would.
not saying it's not impossible.
That's
It's
right.
not impossible. But boy, that's tough.
Agreed. Got that right.
So now we have the Clemson regional, South Carolina upstate, and Kentucky is in that regional. I guess is the 2 seed. So the Wildcats of Kentucky not getting to host, which
What do
I
you
mean
think
I
about
imagine.
Kentucky's odds versus Clemson?
Um, that's honestly very interesting. I think Eric Backett is one of the best coaches in the country at Clemson. But Kentucky, I mean, they can beat you because they can really annoy you. But because they just play all different kinds of styles. They play small ball, they can hit out of the park. But I think this year is the year that Clemson sort of gets over the hump. I think Clemson could be that Omaha team, but again matched up with LSU, it's a tough draw.
Yep. West Virginia, they're not bad.
No, not bad at all.
That's a
Um,
tough regional, and this is a tough road for Clemson. They didn't get a great draw here.
but I tell you what, if Clemson and LSU, boy, that'd be a one hell of a super regional.
Oh, that'll be awesome. All
My
these
dad
super
is
regionals are going to be
in,
awesome.
yeah,
But that's
absolutely
that's
starting to.
just like the definition of a top SEC team versus top ACC, which is what I think the last year wasn't it? It was LSU and North Carolina, right? I think that
Correct.
was the super regional.
That they were in a regional. They lost. The LSU went to Chapel Hill. Uh oh, Jake, it's your boys.
Yep.
Get ready to glaze.
Let's see.
Big time UT Glazer is Jake Target. If you do not know, he
Golly.
he has an Andrew Fisher poster above his bed.
I do not. That's
He's
fake. That's
he's
fake
Directly on
news.
the ceiling, the last thing you see right there for
yes, it's right there in the Delta Psi house in his room. He doesn't even live there. It's right. It's on the halls of Campus Walk. He just has it up everywhere. Wake Forest heading to Knoxville. I think I'm pulling
That's
some
what I
David
wanted to see.
Dakins.
Last year. They were set up to possibly do a to be in a super regional, but East Carolina beat Wake Forest.
I
But that
think
would have been
everybody in
that would have
yeah
been Chase Burns versus his former team Tennessee
yes
last year. That I wanted to see that so bad, but I think it was East Carolina who beat uh, Wake Forest.
Jake, you probably watch more of this team than anybody I know. What do you think this team sets up well for winning a regional one that could go very long? And they're going to be
Absolutely,
matched
I
up
think
with Fayetteville.
no disrespect to this regional either. I think this is a very favorable one for them. Um, but I just think they've got. I'm not gonna. They're not hot right now, right? But I think they have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They've shown that they're beatable. But this Tennessee team is a postseason team. They're great in the regular season, but I think again this could be. I don't know. I see them going far. I've watched a lot of them, a lot of their games.
Yes,
Are they matched up against
what
Arkansas?
was the
yes, they
speaking
are
of
matched up
your
against
Tennessee
Arkansas.
boys, what did they finish the season at home in series? They lost what, five of their last six or something?
Yes, they did not start. They did not in that one so well. They did well in the SEC tournament.
It's not
Um,
as good at Lindsey Nelson as you would think they would be. You know, you'd
no,
think that'd be a
especially
tough
for that,
spot to go.
especially for that Mickey Mouse ballpark. And I'm just being honest. That thing is. And I know,
Yep.
former pitching coach yourself, you would probably hate to
Yes.
play there. Was it 310 down the line with a 2 foot wall?
It feels like you can miss hit a ball and it'd leave the yard by 5 rows. So that's the you love pitching in a bandbox right there.
So, and I'm sure everybody in the country is rooting for Wake Forest, or if they get to a super regional Arkansas. I mean, those are two very hateable programs, but I think even I would be going Woo Pig.
Mhm.
Yes.
Um,
So is that so is that where those okay, yep. Now Simon, I would love to see that super regional right there.
that would be, boy, Bob Walker, probably what, 15, 16,000 strong there.
No hog pen be going wild now.
You've been there once, right? Your brother's been there once.
That's right. Little brother went there. Yep. Yeah, well, he was wearing his powder blue, standing up there. So we're just
God
glad he made
bless
it back.
him.
We're glad he made it out alive.
Exactly. In the land of Walmart, the land of Walmart and Tyson, they would have turned him into a chicken nugget.
Ain't no doubt about it. Yeah, but that's a good fun place to play. I mean, if it was easier to get there, it'd be fun to go. That's what we were talking about that yesterday.
So and you and I know this very well. But playing emotional, and Tennessee does this quite a lot. Playing emotional can come back to bite you, very much so. I think sometimes this Tennessee team gets too plays, like I said, too emotional, too cocky, too arrogant. They kind of have to stay a little reserved there, especially during the season, but especially during a regional. Do you think that's something that could definitely come back to bite them in a regional situation?
Absolutely. I think it's hard, especially in baseball, where, it's not like rah rah basketball, rah rah football, where I can line up and go. I mean, it's a long process. It's hard to ride that wave, and they're super intense, super emotional. And I think you've seen it kind of bite them a little bit. Now, on the other hand, Friday night in Oxford, super emotional, and they played into it very well, right? With
Yes.
lefty going. But I think that it makes them very dangerous when they get going. And I think it's tough to kind of get kickback started whenever things aren't going your way when you play with that much emotion and that much edge all the time, pegged out.
It's the land of extremes, and extremes is not a place you want to be in baseball.
If you
Yep, you
can,
can't ride that
if you
roller
can.
coaster.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have too high of highs, too low of lows, you know. You gotta stay in the middle. It's way easier said than done too, because you go, you get swept in a weekend and you're down in the dumps, or you go, say Tennessee, I don't know, they won some big series earlier in the year. They're high on themselves, and it's very easy to, when you're up there, it's very easy to get, I wouldn't say upset, but you know what I mean. You're more vulnerable.
You look at the
Absolutely.
team they had, what was that, 2, 3 years ago when they were world beaters and Notre Dame goes in there and wins a super. So you're like,
Yep.
you know, you never can tell. You don't like to be that way, but whenever they're rolling, they are man, they're tough. So it'll be curious to see how they respond, especially after having a pretty good week there in Hoover.
Yep.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this Oxford Regional for a second. I know a lot of our listeners are from this area. So this Oxford Athens Regional, Ole Miss has become sort of a very walk home run dependent team, not really getting a ton of base hits. I think Foley Field for a matchup actually tends to favor the Rebels a bit because this is a place where you can kind of hit it out of the park. Um,
Isn't it like 350 to left though?
it is, but I believe it's not very. There's not a ton of. It's things like 335 to left, but there's not a ton of like variation between. So it's
Yeah.
not like it's super far to center, super far to like it's just kind of all the same.
Yeah, right field's more of a short porch. I know that. Um, but yeah, I know left field from what I remember, because I remember Condon hitting bombs over the 350. It was like 350 left center or something like that, and he's just clearing it by 50 feet. You
That
know.
man was insane.
Yeah.
Coach, how would you pitch to Charlie Condon? I think I know what this answer is going to be, but yeah, yeah. Exactly,
Point to first
exactly.
base.
Yeah, yeah. Four, one more than your number, right? Is it?
That is exactly right. You can't run out the yard whenever I take the bat out of your hand. But no, that kid was. Uh, I think anytime I tell you the kid for Georgia that I like. I don't know how much y'all have watched Georgia play this year, but the Robbie. What's his last name? I know it was the number one, maybe. I think he's lefty outfielder. What is his last name? That dude can
Uh,
absolutely rake from the,
Dude from
and he's not a
Canada?
big guy.
He's no, 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 no. They have one from Canada who's a big dude who can also swing the bat.
What
Um,
is his name? Is
is
it
it
Robbie
44?
Robbie Bird? I gotta look him up now because his name stuck out to me obviously for being Robbie.
Slade
Robbie
Alford is
Burnett, is
another
that
guy.
right?
Yes, yes, yes. I know who you're talking about now. Yeah,
Yeah,
Robbie
5'11", not
Burnett.
a big guy. Yeah, dude, you got what 20 bombs on the year. I like watching that kid swing it. I think it's
Slade Alford
caught
is another
several.
guy who can swing it.
What's that now?
Slade Alford, another guy who could swing it for them.
Mississippi guy.
Yes, he is.
Yep. I asked Coach, I asked Braden this in one of the podcasts. Do you think that this is a little bit in terms of the power side of college baseball, like these elite programs? Do you think this is a little bit of a down year or just kind of like a return to normalcy? Because last year at this point, there were three people, like I think it was Condon, Caglione, and Christian Moore, all had 30 home runs or more already at this point.
I would say, especially with like Condon, Caglione, and them. I don't know if we got those type of guys
Mhm.
necessarily. I feel like those two are some generational dudes.
Yeah.
I also think you got some really, really big arms that these dudes have to see week in and week out that kind of play into that. Um, I feel like a lot of them are, they're going to try and go, it's hard to stack up hits consistently, so everybody's trying to run it out of the yard. But I think that you don't have maybe those top guys necessarily.
Yeah.
To a little bit of a dip, but I also think they're also going up against some really good dudes, 3 games a weekend.
Yeah. So you think the pitching is almost a little bit better this year in terms
I think
of
so. I mean, you look at what was the Ole Miss LSU game? They're running out multiple guys that are throwing triple digits. I mean, it's almost
yeah.
like
Yes,
every time you flip it on, someone's running high nines up there with just filthy off speed stuff, and
Yep.
it's kind of hard to barrel that up consistently. I think so.
100%. Yeah, you got starters like you got two good lefties in Anderson for LSU and then Liam Doyle, obviously. Yeah, you got some really good starters, but it really is the bullpen and the closers that I've seen a lot more triple digits than it feels like I don't think I saw that much last year. There were some guys throwing hard like 2 years ago, Paul Skeens, all that. You got those really good starters every year. But in terms of people that we don't know too much about that are just pumping triple digits now is kind of insane.
absolutely. I mean, look at it yesterday. There were guys on LSU's bullpen. I had with like four ERAs who were throwing 102
Yeah.
with movement. I remember last year being at the Texas A&M series when Ole Miss played them at home, and their bullpen, and I'm like, oh, he throws 100, and he throws 100, and oh, they've got another one. He throws 100 too.
Yep.
It's just they all to get looked at now. You have to throw 95 plus. I don't think there's a single guy who's not left-handed who does not throw 95 on Ole Miss's staff, at least or close to
Yeah.
it.
That's what you look
That's
for in recruiting, right? You can sit there; it's all about hitting a number. So it makes it tough, especially whenever you got guys that are trying to get noticed and they're good pitchers, but they got to hit a number. So you're constantly chasing it, and I think everybody's doing the same.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, real quick, coach. So, let's talk about this. So, speaking of Ole Miss and pitching, Joel Mangrum, brand new pitching coach this year. What do you make of the job that he has done so far this year?
I think he's done a great job. Obviously, the boys were hot this last week because didn't think they swung it particularly well, but was make it all the way to Sunday to the ninth inning. I think the biggest thing that is whenever you sit there and think is the load that it takes off of five, right?
Right.
Because when you're a pitch caller, you're the head coach. You got a lot of things going on. I think just the ability to have somebody that's just focused on that is the biggest difference. Not to say that he's leaps and bounds better than Bianco on the pitching side, but just the fact that he gets to solely focus on that and have those dudes. I think that's been the biggest change to me on what I've been able to see because it just allows you to just really focus in on that versus having to manage all of it from a pitching staff as the head coach.
And I think, and this is just something that I've seen. Mangrum has a lot of experience. He came from the minor league level. He was the minor league pitching coordinator for the Guardians. So, and it was a big adjustment for him. Normally, you have 3 or 4 years to develop a guy. Here, you have like 6 months and really no off season. But what he's done in that short amount of time with developing guys, and he's still developing guys. And people were talking about early on, the bullpen was struggling, but I think here towards the end, the bullpen sort of picked up. And the guys have been able to develop a relationship with him, and you'll know this especially with dealing with pitchers. A personal relationship is very important because it's so mentally challenging. You need someone you know is going to be there for you, and he has certainly been that for those guys.
Before you, Braden, you around the program in and out. Do they? Does he make the players call him Joel?
Yeah, yeah, they'll call him
I
Joel.
say that because I hear a lot of interviews, and it's like I'm working with Joel, doing that, and I've worked with some coaches before that like, hey, don't call me coach. That way it feels more personal. That way I feel like we can kind of get deeper. So, and I've heard those players say that several times. I was curious if that was something that was on purpose or if they're just cool like that.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, it's a very professional. It's a very close and personal one, but it's also a very professional relationship. Magram again coming from that professional ball world where things were about money. You had to be efficient because if you were costing the team money, he explains everything in the terms of money, and but yeah, it's not treated like I'm sort of beneath you. It's like, hey, here's what we're doing, and we're working together and figuring things out. And again, it gives them a chance to connect with a pitching coach who specializes to them, if that makes sense.
And real quick, for think you nailed it there. The still developing, right? You come in and you're new.
Correct.
You may have some different ideas. You may be trying to do something, and that success ain't always just linear going up. Sometimes you got some dips. But I think that's been evident for anybody that's followed the guys for all 56 plus games. Is they're getting better, right? You can tell they're working on
Right.
things. You're constantly working. You're not just, hey, the season started, let's hold on to it. You're still developing throughout the year, and seeing those guys get stronger as the season goes on, I think speaks to that.
Like and again, he's done a phenomenal job and he's still doing a fantastic job. I think they're only going to get better. Again, he's only been on the job. He got hired literally this time or about a month from now last summer. So he's not even been there a
Yep.
full year.
Yep.
And
Things take
what he's
time.
already done. And you had to get guys out of the portal, and it's well, he's done an incredible job. I mean, he found Will McCausland, who's been a key bullpen piece for them. He had like a 4 ERA at St. John's, and he said, "Hey, I can do something with this kid," and he's been a good pen piece for the Rebels. He's really helping develop Mason Morris there, changed the arm slot there for him a little bit. Got him from about 92, 93, 94 to about 98, 99, all in seeing something in his mechanics, sort of raising the arm level a little bit so he can get more on top of the fastball and just been able to drop his velo. And obviously, he's one of the best pitchers they have, and Mason's just been phenomenal all year.
There's been lights out.
He has been incredible. I mean, he's one of the best pitchers in college baseball. I will legitimately say that. He
What
is
year is he? Is he a junior?
junior. He's our age.
Yeah.
He played with some guys. Well, I'll give him a shout out. He played with some couple guys named Evan Smith, Drew Humble, and Carter Crawley, who I went to high school with. Who that guy right there coached. And he played with us, and so he played with them when they were younger. So he's from Tupelo High School. Again, I don't know what's in the water down there at the Golden Wave, whatever a Golden Wave is, but
Off air.
yeah, that's
What a
about
goal.
right. I always ask Hunter, "What's a Golden Wave?" He's like, I don't know."
Yeah, that T-Flow group is pretty good right there. They just they said they were just unfortunate that year, the 2021 year for the Tupelo Wave. That's just a bad year. They ran into a different a tough group there. So our heart
Yeah,
goes out to
they
them from the Madison Central boys.
yeah. They ran into some guy. They had some pitching coach or something. He was all right.
That's it. That's where it all starts, right there.
Yeah. Hey, USA Today's had national champions or something. I think they had a couple guys go to like Stanford or something. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, I tell you, I was telling Casey yesterday. I said, "What terrible luck!" I said that team, that Tupelo team, that wins a state title. 9 out of 10 years. Just had bad luck. You run into a once in a generation team there, but man, that they were loaded, no doubt about it.
That's and I mean you went against Hunter Elliott that Friday, or at least I mean obviously but you went against Hunter Elliott that Friday night and what I believe beat him 2-1. You said one time and two solo shots.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we have ran one out there on him, and I've seen them. Let's see, we saw him twice, seen him in the stands, scouting and doing things. So probably seen him go live about 4 times, and all 4 times it's the exact same thing. So, and one of the things that especially Ole Miss people like, and you can kind of see it, is that the dude shows up whenever it's clutch, right? You see his outings at the end of the regular season. You see his outing in Hoover. You go back to that, the 22 team when they're, how lights out he was. Same way in the playoffs there. In high school, felt like any time that it was a big moment that Lefty was showing up, and he's tough. His
How
stuff
Big
hard was
plays.
game
he throwing
hunter's
in high
real.
school? Was he like low 90s in high school?
Yeah, he probably sat there upper eights, low nines. It
Yeah.
plays a lot faster. He's kind of got that arm slot, and dude competes, and his
Yep.
stuff. It really, it looks the same a lot. So like you sit there and start guessing, and all of a sudden 90 starts looking like 95, and it's
Yeah.
running in on your hands. So the dude's tough and competes. So he was a heck of a challenge for us for sure.
Yeah. 100%. How
He's
was
also
it? How was it like coaching Braden Montgomery?
Oh, he made me. I was a really good coach with Braden McGowan. No, he was good. He actually didn't pitch a lot for us. He hadn't pitched a lot whenever we got him, so it was fun to kind of work with it on the pitching side. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, the dude's got more talent than you've ever seen. He breaks from both sides of the plate, and he's 100 plus from the outfield. But was very raw on the pitching side, so that was a lot of fun because he could do things that most normal people cannot. So
Yeah.
it was a fun project there. Plus, he's a great kid, so it was a treat for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome. And he went to Stanford first, right?
Yeah, he was there, did 2 years there, and then finished up at A&M. I think he went to Omaha 3 straight years. So
Yeah.
pretty good run there for him. He'll be
Ah,
making he'll be getting called up for too long. I think he's still raking down there.
yeah. That's awesome. That really is
so
awesome.
actually that's a good segue. Speaking of A&M, so I want to talk about this story now from Jake, from your perspective, and then as a former player, and then coach, one from as a coach. So Jace Lavalette, obviously the Aggies did not win the SEC tournament. They did not make the tournament. But against Auburn, Jace Lavalette takes a fastball to the hand. He breaks his hand. I can't remember in what spots. Coach Michael Early says he is done for the tournament, and then he gets surgery and plays the exact same day, including getting a base hit. Just an incredible performance from a guy who's certainly going to be a big league prospect. What did you make of that? I'll ask you first, Jake, and then we'll go from Coach. Like, what would you do in that situation?
I think that just shows, I mean, it shows resilience, obviously, that, that everyone knows that. Um, and it just shows that he wants to play. And he's got something that's what I love about college baseball is these guys have something to play. And that's just not a diss on the MLB, but these guys have, they are playing like their life depends on it. And it doesn't, they'll play through injuries, all that. I feel like a lot of people when they get to the MLB, they're a little bit more careful because they're making a lot of money and if they get injured, then that can be a problem. But I think
Right. And you play
I don't know, he
162
just he
games a
just
year.
right there represented D1 baseball, I think, very well. That's just my opinion on it.
Coach?
I think Jake nailed it there. It speaks to the type of guy that you are, right? We've been on teams, we've seen guys that, they may go out there and the team doesn't win, but they went 3 for 4 and they feel good about it. Those guys that are just worried about themselves. You look at a guy who's going to be a no doubt first rounder, going to make a lot of money, got the potential to do it, but he couldn't stomach not going out there and playing with his brothers that he'd been with. Right. And I think if I'm a scout, if I'm somebody, a fan, of the game like we are, like you respect the heck out of that. You're sitting there going, that guy's got all the future in front of him, but he's got too much heart, too much, compete, too much of a team bond there. Maybe a big fan of him. I mean, you've been there right there. There's a reason all these teams do Omaha challenges. There's a reason that they're doing all this to kind of create that bond, and that just shows that they've got that in spades. You could even see how emotional he was there in the press conference afterwards, talking about how much it meant to him. And I think that just kind of speaks to the type of person that he is, on top of being an awesome ball player.
Absolutely, and you're absolutely correct in that. Talk about those Omaha challenges, really underrated things that people don't see. It's kind of just a branding tagline, but no, this really brings a team together. And I'll talk about NIL and transfer portal in this day and age. It's really showing some character. Not only it looks good for the sport, but college sports as a whole. Hey, there's still some people who want to play for their team and not just money and things of that nature.
Yeah, and it's hard too, right? As a coach, you sit there and you almost feel like a parent a little bit. You're like, dang, I don't want to send this guy back out there because I want to protect him. But at the same time, when you preach toughness, you almost don't want to rob the kid from being able to showcase it. So it kind of puts you in a tough spot. I was glad he got to play there because being on that side of it, you want to look out for the kid, but at the same time, you preach toughness 24/7, and you got a kid that's trying to showcase it. And you want to give him that opportunity. So I thought that was pretty neat there for coach to let him go back out there.
Absolutely. So I don't. Let's see. We'll pull up the bracket here in front of me. If you two want to pull up the bracket, we can do that. Why don't we have a little game here? Who's winning the whole thing? Way too early predictions. Let's see. I'm going to pull up the bracket here. So in the meantime, while I'm doing that, most interesting regional to you so far? You,
Let me pull up the bracket real quick and then
I got
I'll
you. Baseball.
Let's see. Let's
Uh,
see. I can put my glasses on. I got to read this.
the
yeah,
eyes
this
not
is
as good as it once were.
very small. I gotta
What y'all think about that Hattiesburg Regional?
Let's see here. Okay. So let's see.
Alabama's
This
a
is
2 seed. I know they don't like to see that.
No,
That's
they
for
were
sure.
playing for a hosting spot. They got beat. They beat Missouri and then got beat by Tennessee. And then that was that.
Am I seeing Miami is the three?
Yep.
That
I mean,
is, ooh,
that right there. Look out now. The Pete be rocking.
Pete
So,
Taylor Park down there in Hattie's Burger with cheese. If you get it, you get it.
the mustard buzzards.
The mustard buzzards. The redheaded step cousins, what I always called them. You know, State's little brother, but they're more like the redheaded step cousin that nobody really talks about.
That's right. Hey, I started off right. I give a shout out to my boy Jake Cook again, right down my center fielder for the old Eagles. Here's another. He's part of that Jaguar team there. He's had a heck of a year.
There we go. I can't read this bracket either. Um, this thing is, I don't know that the smallest person, in the best eyes in the world could read this thing. We're trying to live, we're live, folks. We're live, pal. So let's see. Yes, Southern is. Screw it, we're pulling up a different bracket. Which one are y'all on?
I'm on the NCAA website.
Yeah, it's what I am too, but I can't read that at
I'm just
all.
I just controlled plus zoomed in on it.
Well, Jake, you actually have two hands. Let's.
Yeah.
Look at all these excuses he's coming out with right here.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah. What's up with
wait,
that?
good night. Come on.
I mean, hey, as one once said, we're putting Braden to work.
Hey, that was a hey. No true words have been spoken. There wasn't no free rides around here. Now, come on now.
You definitely did put me to work.
Hey, that was we
Look,
had to had to get something out of you right there, huh?
hey, I hope you did.
Hey, without a doubt, that was I had a picture it popped up on me. I was looking for something the other day. You were sitting there on the aux cord, and I was like, that's why all of our music was so bad. I forgot who we had being
No,
the
that wasn't
DJ.
my fault.
So
No,
that
because I
was
had a bunch of dudes screaming at me wanting me to play rap at the school. And you're like, no, we can't do that. I'm like, you're already trying to get me. I don't need to.
that's true. That's true. I'm curious to see how these SEC teams fare in all these other ones. You know, we hear all year about how good the league is. Obviously, it is. You know, that's what we spend most of our time watching. That's probably what I'm most looking forward to here is they spread out over the country, is all the SEC teams in different regionals, seeing how that plays kind of across the board as we go into the weekend.
Over
Absolutely.
under four teams in Omaha for the SEC.
Ooh, that's a good.
Now, I haven't looked at the bracket on how it shapes out, but how many SEC Super Regionals are lined up here
Let's
where
see.
they can
So,
One,
basically
two. I think there's only two.
so two. And how many teams are in? There's like 13 in the tournament.
I could get what Vandy, Bama.
Auburn, Kentucky.
Oh, I guess it.
Uh,
Yeah, I guess it could
just in
be. Never mind.
general,
I didn't take that into
Vandy,
account.
Bama, Auburn, Kentucky, LSU, Ole Miss,
Auburn, Florida,
Texas.
Arkansas, Tennessee. Man, sign me up for an LSU Clemson Super.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could potentially. So you could get one, two, three, and you could potentially get all. Yeah. So what was the question? Was it four to go to Omaha? Was
Over
that it?
under 4 SEC teams in Omaha.
Mm. Can I pick four and take the push?
Yeah.
It was four last year, right?
You five.
Was it? It was five SEC and
No,
three
no,
ACC.
it was four SEC, four ACC. It was the SEC ACC Invitational.
That's what I thought because it was who were the ACC? It was North
North
Carolina.
Carolina State, North Carolina State, North Carolina, Florida State, and
Was it Virginia or
yes,
Clemson? Yeah, it was Virginia, right?
Virginia. Clemson got
Yeah,
beat by Florida in that crazy last game Super Regional.
yeah.
Cinderella catch, that
Was
whole
it North
thing.
Carolina, Virginia, Florida State? That's right. Yeah. NC State. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah, that
that's correct.
LSU
NC
Clemson, if they
State lost
can,
to Kentucky,
man,
and yeah,
that could be an incredible.
that's
Clemson's
my
just gonna have to get
get
past Kentucky.
take my money on that one. Like here's
Yeah,
all the money. That's one that you glued to television for. I mean, there's a few there you could be glued to television for. I know I'm going to be glued to the television all well, at least when I'm not in Oxford. I'll be glued to the television and the phone screen all weekend. All for the next 3 weekends, I'll just be locked in.
the
Like I
Tennessee
mean,
Arkansas Super, that'll be awesome.
that yeah,
That
if that
happened,
comes to fruition and Arkansas doesn't pull in Arkansas, I mean
right?
it could be. Arkansas has been known to lose a regional occasionally.
And if they don't
Can
lose the
they could.
regional, hopefully they I don't know, maybe it's a good thing that they play Tennessee in a super because they have a better chance against a team like Tennessee than a team like Cincinnati, honestly.
Man,
Was
that's
that their
so.
last SEC series? Was Tennessee at Arkansas
Yes,
in the regular
yes.
season?
They Arkansas won 2 out of 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, you got two staffs that are going to be familiar with each other with Vitello there and in Van Horn. So no love lost there, I don't think.
All right, so just looking at the bracket real quick, we've already done the matchups. Just one last thing here. All right, so who wins the whole thing? Let's why not? Sure. Way too early predictions.
How about you go first?
Okay, fine. Um, kind of want to say Ole Miss for the memes. Let's see.
All right, I got Tennessee then.
Oh,
Oh,
back to
you know
back.
what?
No, no.
No, no, no. Honestly, Could Ole Miss theoretically get out of Athens? Honestly, I think they could. And if because to me, if Ole Miss wins the regional, I'm not too much concerned as much as Georgia as I am Ole Miss is pitching in a regional. I think they can win 2 games.
I think they've got to win the first two.
Correct. They
I
can win
think
the first two.
if you rebels are going to Omaha, I think they're going to be 5-0 when they get there.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, Ole Miss has won the first two sometimes and lost two in the losers bracket. Again, hello Tennessee Tech. But
How many times you got to bring that up, Kyle?
yeah, I know. Hey, listen, I had enough therapy to get through it. Okay, that was who would have seen that coming? That team could slug it though.
Baseball, baby.
It is. That's baseball. So honestly, um, I mean, is Vandy? I mean, honestly, Vandy could be the #1 seed and winning the whole thing. I think Vandy's pitching is really good.
And we'll take the Hogs.
You know
I'm
what?
going
For
to
the
Arkansas.
memes, how can I go against the Rebs? They're my boys. I'll say Rebs. But if you really want to, anybody but Ole Miss, I'll say Vanderbilt. Honestly, I say the #1 seed wins it. As hard as that is to do, there's only been 2 teams since the new format to do it: Miami in '99 and Tennessee last year. That Vandy pitching staff is really well put together. Tim Corbin's done a really good job putting that staff together. And I mean, they can hit, and it's not just home runs. They get 11. Was it run rule Tennessee and got 13 singles? I mean,
13 singles.
as a baseball nerd and someone who had a really good coach who instilled the basics of baseball in him and not just hitting home runs, man, that was beautiful to see.
They're going to run the bases. They're going to, like I said, You know, if if you're watching yesterday, they pull off the fake bunt double steal. I mean, that's just people want to call it small ball and all of that. That's baseball. It's
No,
fun to watch
that's
them to still do that versus all right, let's wait on the 3-run bomb. They're gonna get on, they're gonna bunt, they're gonna run, they're gonna try to force you to make mistakes, and then they're gonna pitch the heck out of it. And there's a reason why they're the number one overall seed.
absolutely. And like you said, that is baseball. I mean, I tell everybody all the time, my favorite drills to watch in practice at Ole Miss or at Nettles or wherever, first and third drills. Because when that thing is executed in a game, it's absolutely beautiful. Delayed steals, things like that. Those things that wins you game. That's the things that. Although Vandy, I guess, miscalculated that one yesterday. They they're pretty good at that. Tim Corbin runs that thing like a well-oiled machine, so I would look out for them. To be honest, I think Texas is way too hurt. They're a very very good baseball team. Don't get me wrong. I think Texas is way too hurt.
They get, I feel like they got a really good draw looking at it to get there.
They do. That's not a bad regional to be in at all.
Yeah, I think they even match up. Even their supers, pretty good draw there as well. I don't know how good any of those West Coast guys are, but I'll take my chances if I'm them.
And I feel like the bracket is pretty good for SEC teams.
I agree. I think
I,
North Carolina has a pretty good path too, to be honest.
yeah,
I'm pretty high on North Carolina, especially after that the win against Florida State and Clemson. They're the best team in the ACC. They have the best chance against these top SEC teams. And honestly, I would not be surprised if they went all the way, if I'm being honest. I think there's a very good chance they make it to Omaha. And I don't know. I can see them for a non-SEC team, I think they would have the best chance.
I like their
I
super
can see.
regional draw for sure.
Yeah.
And one last time, tie it back to Ole Miss. If I'm Ole Miss, the thing I'm worried about, I think again their offense plays well for what they plays well in Oxford. I think it'll play well in Athens. I worry about how it plays well at the Chuck. They struggled a bit because they can be a bit home run reliant. They struggled a bit there in the very deep. You don't actually realize how deep it is until you get there. Hoover Met. They struggled a bit
Yeah, it's
there. I mean, Luke Hill hit that one on the button yesterday, and it was like that would have been out at Swayze, well out, and it was a deep fly out for. So
That ball's hammered too.
yeah, he hit it
it
like
was.
I think they said 105 off the bat or something like that. 375
Yes,
or something.
You could see his reaction going to break when he rounded first on how well he hit that ball versus the outcome he got, and it was just
Yep.
that.
he said a
That's
word
that's
there.
why he said what he said.
He said a word there, Coach. You want to translate what that was?
Yeah, I think it was crap, really. But I think it started with a different letter, maybe. But
I think it was something that actually rhymed with duck. I said duck with a D.
that's right.
Demonetized.
That's you put the disclaimer out on that one for you, Braden.
Yes, that
Hey,
with
quick question for you here. The
absolutely.
Let's say your Rebels win and Georgia wins. It goes to chalk. Have you seen how many people can fit at Foley Field?
So from my understanding, because the park's Swayze in its initial stage in Foley Field, I believe is the name there, was built pretty much the same way, except they expanded much differently. I think Foley can fit 8,
You need
maybe.
to look that up. Why am I thinking that's I feel like they're small. I was thinking it'd
They are they are smaller, but they have more club seating than you realize.
be
They have a lot of those like
like a
suites.
Hattiesburg regional or the Lafayette regional where
It's
200 Ole Miss fans could go.
they don't have. It's not that small because again, it's still bigger than what some maybe realize. They just have a lot of club seating, so they went for the other option where instead of expanding down the hill like Swayze did, like around the hill, they sort of went for like more club seating. They have that thing behind the like right behind home plate, and then of course there's the house that's unofficially there. The frat house is right behind, so there'll be some unofficial people there, but it's not quite as many. But I want to say it fits like 5 to 8.
Updated capacity under 4,000. I'm trying to see when I'm reading this here. But dang, that's
Really?
I'm trying to see what year that was put on there.
Would you go to Athens if we made it?
I'd be thinking about it. That's why I was looking up to see how I wonder how hard tickets would be to get there.
Shoot, you want to take me with you?
Let's go, man. Roll up. We'll catch the Braves while we're over there in town.
Oh yeah, absolutely. How far is that technically? You would know.
What is Athens to?
What North Cobb?
Yeah, Can't be too bad there, right?
Jake's a Cubs fan, by the way. If you're wondering which side of Chicago he is,
Golly, the
Yep.
Cubs.
Hey, we're not doing too bad this year so far.
you're
I
not
hope
the White Sox.
y'all enjoying Dansby up there?
Oh yeah.
To be honest, listen, I know Dansby's a great, like he was a great shortstop and all, man. But I mean, and he's a really good player. He's not a star though. They need somebody else. I think. Although
Yeah.
PCA, old Pete Crow
Kyle
Armstrong, man, he's
Tucker.
having a good year. Kyle Tucker. You want Chris Bryant back from the Rockies? What can the Rockies
I
have?
want prime Chris Bryant back.
R.I.P.
Yeah,
Yep.
RFP.
We'll
Also,
never
RP
forget him
Mike
though.
Trout. We'll never forget
Seeing
him.
that contract, is that the Rockies that are paying him all that money?
They still owe
Yeah.
him like $100 million.
He was good. What year was that? What year did they win it? 16?
Yep.
Honestly, if the Cubs are still, yeah, the Cubs are still paying him. To be honest, they still owe him. It's fine. The Cubs fans will probably be like, that's okay. That's fine. We'll pay him even if he doesn't play for us. That World Series, they wanted that one so bad.
Oh yeah. I mean, we paid how I don't even know how much we paid, but for Aroldis Chapman for 1 year, we just took
Yeah,
him from the Yankees,
was it
gave him
worth
right
it?
back. Like
Yeah.
we knew we were in for the run there. So
And then you paid all that money for freaking who hit that bomb against the Indians? Excuse me, the Guardians. Excuse me, the Cleveland baseball team.
who hit the
I'm gonna need you to go seek some therapy there to be better there. Guardians for sure.
bomb?
Hey, yes, I know. Excuse me, canceled. I've been canceled on Blue Sky or whatever that social app is called that they made when Twitter got bought out by X. I just want to say also this was we're brought to you by the Kamala Harris administration. Picked off podcast presented to you. We COVID was real. All right, anyway, this
Look at
this
you.
is on
Look at
face.
you.
Yeah, hey, we don't want to get in trouble. The overlords might get to us.
Get us blocked before lunchtime over here.
Yeah, yeah, you know how it is. There were plenty of things that probably said that could get us blocked in previous times we were live.
Yeah.
That's what makes it a good show right there for you boys.
Unfiltered.
Yep, I think where was that? 73 miles was by the way, got that pulled up there for you, Braden, for give me from Athens to Truist. So we can make
73.
it.
That's not bad.
No, we can
Atlanta
make it.
traffic.
I love it. Love me some Atlanta traffic.
You gotta love it. They have like the worst interstate system I've ever seen in my life. If they would just get rid of that like river underneath the overpass, like, and just build another freaking road.
Get rid of a river, no biggie.
I mean, they have that like that little you know what I'm talking about? That little pond thing like underneath the interstate. I want to say on one of the interstates, like downtown Atlanta. If they would just get rid of that, like you could easily get rid of that. You have the money. You
That'd be
just
good to
build.
go.
Yeah, but Atlanta traffic is like it's. I think it's some of the worst. Jake, have you ever driven in Atlanta?
I have actually last year.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah. It's I mean, city traffic in general. Like
I
Chicago's the
mean,
same way.
but how did you deal with like the slower pace of Mississippi driving? I've seen you. I've been with you on the phone a few times where you said some words we can't repeat on this podcast
Oh
when
yeah.
driving.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like slow drivers. It's annoying. I don't
You got to
drive
get used to
recklessly,
it.
but I get to where I want to go, in an efficient way. And so if
Hey,
someone's driving 35 in a 40 in the left lane, it's not very happy. So,
I
you
agree,
drove
100%.
you drove a bus a few times, Coach Art. You probably how fast did that thing go with you? You
Not
can bring it
fast
to speed
enough.
on. Yeah.
Hey,
I
you want to
think
get the ones that would let you get up to. If you could get a bus that would get you to about 65 or 70, you were doing good. You felt like you were able to get somewhere there. When you get on the ones that won't go over 54, 55, then now it's becoming a long road trip for you.
and shoot, when you were at MC, how fast those? Because you weren't driving those, you had a police escort the whole way.
That's
That was
right.
legitimately.
I forgot what it was like to stop at red lights when I came back up here.
Yeah, for real, you had a police escort.
That's
Every
So
game.
there was
fantastic.
Yep, every
That's
game we both to the games and coming back, so we were able to make the your travel time there at Madison Central was a lot less because you didn't have to stop for the regular folk. How's that?
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's safe to say there was no police escorts at Middleton High School.
We had some people that got escorted by the police, but it wasn't for a maybe not for to the game. How's that?
Boy, did we!
No doubt, no doubt. But
There were a few times I thought you were going to get the cops called on you. There were some
we
games we shouldn't have lost, and I was like, oh boy.
we survived right there. So may have spilled, we may have spilled a few balls out of a bucket here and there, but I
Maybe
think the
almost fell down a couple stairs.
I told that story the other day. I said that would have been more embarrassing than us trying to field and throw a baseball, which at the time was pretty tough. That's
That was tough that day. Real quick, can I tell
that's
that
the old
story?
snowball.
Before we get out of here, I think it'd be a good story to tell. Jake, you in on this one? So just get ready for this. So we are playing
All right.
the fine folks, I'm saying that generously, of Tupelo Christian Prep. And this is the first, it's a morning game. It's a Saturday at about 11 o'clock. The Tigers here were rolling. We had beaten some really good teams. We'd beaten a 6A team in Starkville. We'd beaten some really. We would go on to beat some really good teams. The number one team in the state, Starkville Academy. But we would do this thing where we would just sometimes decide that we were not going to play very well against teams we really shouldn't. And we committed a few errors and kicked a few balls around. And we had breakfast that morning. By the way, that was the last time we ever had team breakfast. He fed us, but hey, it was good. But
Man, that was a
but
spread too.
yeah, we had the whole thing. And anyway, we end up getting run ruled, and I think by about the 15th error there in the fourth inning, we had this in-ground dugout, and so coach goes and he sees a bucket of balls, and he's very frustrated, and he's on the top step, and as he kicks these balls, you see him slip. He goes, "Dang it!" Except maybe or maybe not, he didn't say "dang it." Allegedly, kicks this bucket. Balls go flying everywhere, and you just see him almost fall and bust his tail right there. And it was one of the you're sitting there trying to hold the laugh in because he's so mad you don't want to laugh, but it was just comical. My dad looked at me as he was sitting right. I'm in the we're on the first base side. And you can see the home fans there behind home plate. My dad's just dying laughing, and I'm like, "Shut up," because he literally almost fell right then and there. And then you said what to that?
That was the damn snowball fight.
Yes, just throwing it around like it's a damn snowball fight.
Yep, that's Mr. Jeff asked me that afterwards because like I said you go and do your little soccer reenactment and about slip and fall down the steps. That would have been more embarrassing than our attempt at defense that morning. So that was luckily we were able to get that elite athletic balance right there to keep us from falling down there. But you're exactly right. That could have gotten really bad, really bad, and turned into a pretty terrible morning if you slip and fall into your own dugout.
Yeah, that was one. There was another time where you kicked a bucket of balls and we were playing Saltillo in Carget, and you kicked those and you told us to pick it up or told
That
them
was
to
the
pick it
day
up.
the
I
first
wasn't
and third
involved.
steal was invented.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
that
so
that was the day of the sock scandal too, where people didn't show up wearing the right socks.
very well coached team that day too. That was a the
We wore
common
those stupid.
denominator, maybe the one talking to you right here. That's what it was.
Hey, we wore those socks. We wore those vests that day. The old like 2000s vests.
Retro. That's correct. Yep. Never again. That was a one and done right there, Jake. No more fun with those uniforms. That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
That was a bad day. So there you go.
We
That's
were the most Jekyll and Hyde baseball team you've ever seen.
The most what?
Jekyll and Hyde, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Hmm.
It was like one day we were world beaters to 6A killers. Back then Mississippi didn't go up to 7A, they went up to 6A. 6A killers, we were all this, and the next day we're getting beat by was it the sister poor Mary School dumb deaf and blind.
yep. Yep. They made us in a series right there.
Yeah, I mean, you always said maybe I should just go schedule Biggersville School for the Blind. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's the fun part right there, right? You sit there and you
That's
show up
baseball,
against
man.
the big boys, and then you don't. That's the fun part of being a coach right there. So that's the secret sauce.
We had some
Yep.
fun times too. My other favorite was probably Oxford, where you the wheels on the bus had fallen off. That was Campbell Smithwick, future Ole Miss Rebel,
Yeah, he was. He was a good catcher.
hit one about 430 feet. That went about 30 feet foul because they couldn't find the baseball, called it fair.
Hey, he was over against us.
Yes, he was, and a little bit of
Now
a
the
game.
other eight Chargers, not so much, but he did go. He was over. That'll
Yes,
be. We'll hang our hat on that one.
last thing is that I remember that day very well because I remember keeping because I kept pitch count, and I remember that day a person we're going to redact his name so we don't get in trouble. He had not done so well that year, and he went out that day 9, 10, 11 pitches in the first 3 innings, and then kick ball, busted pin against the dugout wall later.
I didn't
That
forget about that. I appreciate you bringing that up right there. Thank you. That was a good
yeah,
pin.
I went from I ran the Twitter, I kept pitch count, and I was also your personal therapist at times.
Those do I still have those billable hours? Do I still owe you for that right there?
Yeah, I think hey, if you're on Medicaid and Medicare, we'll I'll get them covered. All right, so well, this has been fun. The road to Omaha begins, ladies and gentlemen. It's here.
Yep.
It's fun stuff. Best time of the year. Well, Jake, we're gonna record tomorrow. I think we're gonna have a regular episode tomorrow. If
Yep.
so, like I said, so that'll be up on Apple and Spotify. This will also be up on Apple and Spotify. Jake, before we go, tell them where they can find us on social media
Yep. You can find us at Picked Off Media on both X and Instagram.
and on YouTube as well, where these future
YouTube
live
now.
streams will
Yeah.
be. Real quick, don't normally do this. You want to plug your social media coach, and then Jake, if you want to also plug it, I'll plug my personal as well.
But I don't even know my username.
That see this how much he's a. You gonna plug Delta Psi
I'm just not
fraternity,
online like that.
member of Delta Psi fraternity. Go,
Yeah.
you weren't in a fraternity, correct? You were in a make one up.
Sam?
You said you weren't in a fraternity, correct? Or were you?
No, I was not. I was GDI.
Yeah, that stands for gosh darn independent.
That's correct. Yes, sir. Yep. I'm a professional lurker, so my social media plug won't get you very much. I stay there looking at everybody.
Stay
I'll
low
never put
key.
anything out
Yep.
there.
You can find yeah, you can find him at Casey Jean Hargett
That's right. That's
on
right.
Facebook.
Yeah, that's
That
the
woman is a saint.
CEO, CFO. That's the boss right there. Yep, she keeps it going. Yep, she.
All right, and you want to plug your business real quick? I know you're selling mobile homes, so anybody, you go
Mobile
ahead. You
home,
can
man.
plug.
Yeah, regional homes. Yeah, if anybody looking for a mobile home, y'all need to give us a shout right there. In Tupelo, got spots everywhere. So prices for stuff right there is super high. So we may have something that makes sense for you. Make sure you give us a shout right there. Repo Home Center there, Braden. We got them used, got them new. How's that for my shameless plug?
Absolutely, there we go. So all right,
Hey, I'm
so
sitting. I'm sitting here right now. We are at work right now, so it's the come see us.
absolutely, come see him if you're in the Tupelo area there, or anywhere else for that matter. If you just want to come to Tupelo, Mississippi, and get you a mobile home.
Come hang out with us.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we will see. Jake and I will see you tomorrow again. Happy Omaha. Happy postseason, everybody. It's time. All right. So for Jake, I am Braden, and for Luke Hargett, I am Braden, and we will see you next time. Bye bye.
Peace.
Sweet. See, we're still.